Hello and welcome to training video number 5. I do apologize again for the lateness of this. I've had quite a bit on my plate, but we'll have 2 videos this week. This is in the games in reference to June 2nd, and in the next couple days I will have a video for this past weekend's games on June 9th. I have about 18 or 20 plays here. Get this wrapped up in less than 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Play 1 here, we have a free kick. Just want to clarify the rules here so everyone understands. Basically, we have a ball that's touched in the field of play. So the referee is going to go ahead and wind it, of course, but he has not possessed this ball, so it is still a kick. We have a muffed kick, but it is still a kick. So there's a lot of players think that they may have to run this out because they've touched it. Officials may think the same thing. Understand that it is still a kick. It's what put the ball in the end zone. So at this point, he is still okay to take a knee, give himself up, and take a touchback. He does not have to run that ball out. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. Touched in the field of play, muffed, not possessed. He can still go ahead and take a knee there, touchback. In play 2, we have a similar play. The difference is the ball is just left uncovered. So this is in this scenario, the ball is touched. It bounces into the end zone. It's touched right here. The ball bounces back into the end zone. So the referee goes ahead and winds it. That's your clue that it is touched. Because I want to clarify on free kicks, if you have an untouched ball by the receiving team that hits the ground in the end zone, we have a touchback. Again, that's untouched by the receiving team. If he has touched it, like in this case, then he does have to cover it. Doesn't mean he has to run it out. He just has to cover it and simply take a knee for the touchback. If he does not cover it and the kicking team recovers it in the end zone or anywhere in the field of play, we would have a touchdown or wherever they recovered it. So just to be clear, again, untouched by the receiving team that hits the ground in the end zone is a touchback. It is still a kick, and he can always take a touchback as long as he did not possess it. Okay, play 3 here. On this one, I want to go over some of the differences in false starts versus offside. Okay, understand that when in doubt, if there's movement on the line and the offense jumps but defense is in the zone, we're going to put that on the offense. Okay, but again, that's when in doubt. We want to try to be sure. And just because defense is in the zone does not necessarily mean that it is a foul on the defense. For example, in this case here, you notice the defender on the right, he is in the gap. Anytime he's in the gap, the offensive lineman on each side of that gap is protected for false start purposes. In other words, if this defensive lineman is in the zone and it causes one of these linemen to move, then it would be a false start, a defensive offside by the lineman there. If, in this case, actually we'll get to that one on the next play. So notice he's in the gap, so there's only 2 guys protected. Okay, but you have movement up on the top, on the left side of the screen, okay, on the left side of the formation. So they are not protected. You got 2 different areas. So we can sit here and watch it in slow motion and things, but the bottom line is the lesson to learn from this is who is protected, who is not. And in this case, we want to be sharply focused. And we have a false start here, and I believe we call it a defensive offside. So just understand again who's protected, who's not, and for defensive offside, it is not a foul until the snap, unless they have had contact or are unabated to the quarterback. Okay, so we have movement there. That should be a false start. Okay, don't let coaches talk you into it either. Okay, here's another example. Only in this example, he is heads up. Okay, so you may notice that the nose tackle is heads up with the center. So that would mean there are 3 people protected. Each person on each side of the center would be protected for false start purposes. Okay, this lineman out here, obviously, or back, would not be protected from that movement in the inside. Someone would need to be heads up or in the gap on him. Okay, so you've got movement on the right side of the defensive formation in the zone, but you've got a guy leaving and beating the snap count early. There's a running back on the right side, so this too should be a false start. And add to that, officials on the bottom here in line of scrimmage, we have a false start. Hustle in quickly so we can shut that down to make sure nothing extra occurs, so that everybody knows it's over. Right now, at this point, we want to get in there, line of scrimmage guys. We should be crashing hard. Umpire as well. Everybody coming in, accordion, close hard, shut the play down. Play 5. This is a defensive offside. A little bit too technical. And the top defensive right end is apparently lined up in the neutral zone here. Yeah, and it looks like he's pretty close to legal. His head may be offside there. It's hard to tell from this angle. What I'm getting at is, let's make these bigger. He doesn't jump in the zone. There's no contact, so to people in the stands or the TV, they think there's no offside here. So if you do report this, hopefully the referee will announce this as offside defense lined up in the neutral zone, and that would at least explain why there was no movement, but we still had an offside. But let's definitely try to make these bigger. Play 6. Here's an example of what would not be offsides on a kicking team. We want to make these big. On a normal kickoff, we want the kicker to be, or the kicking team member to be, at least a yard beyond the line with a foot down before we'd call this. Needs to be big. However, if it's an onside kick, that's the exception. They must be 100% legal and perfect, just like any other trick play. So onside kick, they must be onside perfectly, but on a deep kick such as this one, stay away from fouls like this. And this actually is not a foul, but you got to slow it down frame by frame. It's not a foul, guys. Stay away from these. However, at the end of the play, we do have a little bit of a scrum. Officials, go ahead and get in there, show your presence. A line of scrimmage guy here, a little bit tight. You don't want to be on top of the players in case they jump up. But do go ahead and show your presence and at least start talking to these guys so they know you're there, so that this little pushing and shoving here doesn't escalate into something bigger. Okay, and this is just a little example of mechanics here. Line of scrimmage. Remember, we officiate from behind. We don't have to keep up with that runner. We're not in a race with him. We have deep officials there to get that spot. I'm sorry, to be out ahead of the play. It's still going to be our spot, but we like to be about 5 to 7 yards behind. Right here, you're just awful close, a little bit dangerous. If any of these guys come up and have a late hit, block, anything, would hate to see you get injured or knocked out of the play. You can see the spot just as easily back at the 30-yard line. You got a sideline. You can see where the ball hits approximately. You see where he steps out. All of those things you can piece together. But for your own safety, line of scrimmage guys, be a little bit more patient. Stay back a little further. Okay, this is an example coming up here of looks like targeting, smells like targeting, probably is. We just don't quite have enough evidence to piece it all together. But I want to review targeting here quickly. There are two different portions of targeting, Rule 913 and Rule 914. Rule 913 is forcible contact to the head with the crown of the helmet. By the crown of the helmet, we mean from the opening where the face mask meets the helmet. where that opening closes and starts to become the helmet, all the way to the crown of the helmet. That entire area is considered the crown. If you have forcible contact with the crown of your helmet anywhere on a player's body, it is targeting. It does not have to be in the head. It can be in the stomach. It can be in the arm. It can be in the leg, the thigh. Crown of the helmet, 913, targeting. 914 is hit on the head or neck area against the defenseless player. Defenseless players, there's a list of them in the rule book. Quarterback in a passing posture, a quarterback sliding, a receiver attempting to catch pass, a kicker in a kicking posture, a player laying on the ground, and a few more. Okay, so 914, defenseless, hit anywhere near the head or neck area, targeting. 913, forcible contact with the crown. This play here, if it were to be called targeting, would fall under the category of Rule 914, a hit in the head or neck area on a defenseless player. Looks like targeting. I wish we had an end zone view. Sent this to quite a few other people, and it's awful close. What we can't tell is if the defender is actually adjusting to the ball, which it does appear. He's starting to head to the ball being thrown more towards the sideline, but as he goes that way, he comes across the receiver and kind of goes through him as well. Not sure if that's intent or what. Unfortunately, again, we don't have that end zone angle. Sent this to quite a few as well, and a lot of mixed reviews. We were all under the consensus that had this been called on the field, there would not be enough to overturn it. And same rule applies, since it was not called, there's not enough evidence to create the foul. Definitely close. Guys, stay away from the head and neck area. Lower your target zone. Let's keep each other safe. Play 9 is an example of forward progress and what we would call a cheap turnover. Guys, when we have progress stopped, when it's one-on-one, the defender is hitting a runner, we may give him that extra second to break free if he bounces off. If you've got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 defenders against one guy, he's not going to win that battle. Someone's going to come in and rip the ball out in what we call a cheap turnover. That progress is stopped. We need to get in our whistle. Line of scrimmage guys, come in hard and shut this down. Okay, here. Now this progress is stopped now. That was 1, that was 2, that was 3. It's already been stopped. Quarterback comes in to help block, and now we have the ball ripped out. Now, if we look, line of scrimmage guy actually comes in before the ball's out. He's coming in, which tells me he has a spot. If you have a spot, he's coming in. Now the ball gets ripped out. Not quite sure what you have. Blow the whistle hard. Stay with what your gut instinct was, which was the spot. You knew you had it. Be confident. Come in. Give him the spot. But again, one-on-one, maybe an extra second to fight. More than one, shut it down. We don't want cheap turnovers, guys. Okay, for play 10 here. This is an example of what is not a safety. Okay, you look where the quarterback throws the ball. Catches it right at the goal line. He gets to about the 2-yard line. This is where progress is driven back. He does not go back on his own. This is not a safety. This is clearly forward progress and an excellent spot by this line of scrimmage official. Okay, this is an example of an eligible downfield. You're going to have a tight end covered up. Covered up by the receiver out here on this end. Once it goes out for a pass, that makes it ineligible. That's technically correct by the letter of the law. Probably could stay away from these for one reason, and that's just because there's no advantage gained. He actually has a defender matched up against him, and there's And we've got a defender right here matched up against him and actually makes contact with him. So there's no advantage as far as deception that he's a lineman being covered up. Where we really want to get these when you do have a covered tight end is if you have twins or trips. And there is deception, especially if you have a defender that is not matched up because they think he's clearly covered and they let him go. Let him go uncovered. Twins or trips, he's covered up by a wider guy. Those are what we want to get. This one, the ball is thrown to the other side of the field. Nothing really gained here. I definitely would go in and talk to him, and I would inform the coach as well that technically he's covered up. This is a foul by the letter of the law, but we're going to try to stay away from these and let the game flow. Okay, but technically correct call, and good job looking where you're supposed to be. Yeah, in this play, this is an example of another deep official taking the line of scrimmage spot. We had a couple of these last week as well. This in a case like this, where you have a long run or a pass that actually passes the deep, it's okay to go ahead and take it. What I do want to talk about also is the line of scrimmage guy on the bottom of the screen there. Remember, we don't have to keep up with the runner. We're not in a big hurry to sprint down the field. We've got the deep guys there. The guy who passes the goal line, they're going to be there. It's their responsibility. Line of scrimmage officials have the spots up into the 2-yard line. So deep officials, this would be the line of scrimmage spot. However, here comes the exception. If you get passed as a deep official, a lot of these guys are faster. We get that. They're faster than us. We're all getting older. They're younger. If you do get passed, it's okay. Don't run past the play and run to the goal line. That would look silly. Simply stop and take the spots right there at your feet. And as the line of scrimmage guy comes up, he can simply replace you and you can move on down. But if you're out ahead of the play, where we like to be as deep guys, you've only got the spot if it's inside the 2. But we're all going to get beat sometimes. It's okay. Just step up and take the spot here. Backside, we want you looking to make sure there's no nonsense behind the play. Don't be in such a hurry. Okay, so when he goes down right now, go ahead and take that spot. And he does. This is a block in the back that's brings back a really big play. And this is actually not a block in the back. Block is engaged, and as the defender sees the runner come, he's simply trying to turn and run to get an angle to go after the runner. Anytime a blocker is engaged, such as they are here, if the person being blocked turns and runs or turns their back to the blocker, it is not a foul. They're already engaged. He's turning to run. That's on him. Block in the back is if he has no idea the guy is standing there and gets hit in the back. This is a great block. Stays with him, hasn't lost being engaged. The defender's trying to get away. And as he turns, he just shoves him. We want to stay away from that. It's not a foul. But in addition, don't admire your flags, guys. Once we throw the flag, we can't just stay and admire it. We have to continue to officiate. Again, as we notice, we were almost getting caught up to by the line of scrimmage guys. So we got to continue to move once we throw our flag, guys. Again, down here on the bottom, line of scrimmage, way too fast. You're only a couple yards behind the play. We don't want to keep up with the runner. Okay, when we do that, we're missing some of this other stuff. We want to look out for the blocks out in front, and then we can come in and spot it. Okay, sometimes our deep guy might be a little bit beat. That's okay. We can catch up. Deep guys, remember, once you read run, or once you read that he's breaking that line of scrimmage, it looks like he has potential to go, start moving. Read the play and move accordingly. But it happens. Nobody's perfect. No play is perfect. We can never have everything covered perfectly, but give yourself a better chance for safety reasons. Definitely don't want the block in the back called, though. Make these big. Holds, blocks in the backs, they've got to be gigantic, especially at the point of attack. Okay, here's a long play. Deep official has the goal line as they're supposed to. Good mechanics, good positioning. Here's one where he's clearly going to score. Wayne guys, go ahead and stop at the 5. The only time you need to come inside the 5 is if you're going to take a spot, because we know the deep official has from the 2 and in. You get any closer than that, you start bunching up. It just looks a little awkward. Nothing major. This is not a big deal. It's not a downgrade. Not a just splitting hairs here, giving you a little bit of advice on mechanics. Right there would be a good place to stop. He's clearly going to score. If he doesn't score, he's already inside the 2. If he gets pushed back to the 3 or 4, you're right there. Now we want to dead ball officiate and continue to watch the players away from the ball. Good job. There. Okay, here's a example, a couple of things on this play, but first long run here. Again, don't be in too much of a hurry for line of scrimmage guys down on the bottom to keep up with the play. We're on the back side, especially the 2 officials on this back side. We do not have to be to the goal line. Main area we want covered is that pylon. You've got a deep official up top as well as the back judge. Right now the goal line is supposed to be the 2 of them, but again, we get beat. This is a big play. The guy blows right through. Nobody expects us to keep up with this guy. So the best that the wing can do on the top of the screen there is he can stay on the sideline like he's doing, make sure he doesn't step out. Goal line's going to be the back judges. For the 2 officials on the far side, we're looking in the middle of the field basically at nothing. We're officiating air at this point. There's 4 players in the screen, and there's 4 officials in the screen. That means there's 18 other players being watched by 3 officials. Let's not worry so much about the ball. Let's stay back and officiate, dead ball officiate, and get the back side. Look for any nonsense like just any cheap shots, shoves, blocks, and backs. All kinds of things can happen on the back side away from the play. So let's not all watch the ball. Let's not be out in front. It goes to the other side. Slow down and look at the back side. Look for the nonsense. Look for the guy with the brick in his hand, etc. Okay? Second part of this play is right here. You see the runners start to do a little bit of celebrating. It's not high stepping, but it's choppy stepping. By rule, that would be considered an unsportsmanlike conduct. By judgment, we don't want that called, especially in this league. As a semi-pro league, we do not want anything like this. So I'm not sure if this was, I assume it was seen and just passed on. And that's a good job of staying away from that. We don't want it nonsense like that called. So good job. Good play overall to learn from. Not a big deal, but again, let's protect the backside and make the flags big as you decided to here. Example here of what is not a catch. Good job here by the officials. What I would say, umpire, go ahead and sell that hard. If you're not sure because you turned late, that's okay. Line of scrimmage guys, back judge, somebody knows this pass is incomplete. Get on in there hard, blowing your whistle, and let everybody know that this is it. Come in, don't let anybody have a doubt. Right now, you see the referee looking over to the left of the screen, wondering what we have. Back judge is signaling to stop the clock. We should be selling this hard. Anything that fast, this could be called by anybody. General philosophy, if a guy has the ball that quickly and it comes out that fast, it is not a catch. And if we have to pause it and slow it down frame by frame and we determine, okay, by rule, he technically got a foot down and made a move, but you signal this incomplete, we're okay with that because 99 out of 100 times this is actually an incomplete pass. So don't give cheap turnovers on this and make this a fumble. Make this incomplete, which is what it is, and this is a good job by the crew to do so. Just sell the call a little bit more so that people don't dive in and think it's a fumble. Incomplete. As soon as he catches it, tries to step, gets hit, it's out, incomplete. Excellent judgment by the crew. Okay, take a look at these guys down here. Play's over, it's nothing. They're both going at it. First one or two, okay, they're trying to block each other, maybe engage. But once that whistle's done, maybe one, but now they keep going. We've got to get in there for this. And we do, maybe a little bit quicker, but I assume whistles were blowing or voices are being used. In this case, it's okay to have a funny whistle or definitely be using your voice as you're running in. Letting them know you're there to knock it off. However you have to let them know. But deep official, you see it, you come in, good job. Line of scrimmage guy, I see you looking that way, so I assume you're talking to him as well, using your voice, telling him plays over, things like that. So I can tell you're looking there. Good job. Let's just make sure that they know and try to prevent this. Good job. Okay, here's an example. See the ball snapped at the 8-yard line here. It's technically the deep official spot. You see that the deep official has inside the 2. So you see they start out correctly. Deep guys on the goal line. This is where you want to start to talk. As we shuffle down, we get close to the 2-yard line. You see the deep official moves off a little bit to go ahead and give it to the line of scrimmage. That's okay. The main thing is to just talk. So that's the line of scrimmage guy's spot. Right at the 2, he comes in and takes it. Not a big deal. We know next play we're going to be snapping from the 2, so the deep official will move back to the end line. This is going to be the last play here. An example of when we would want to use cross-field mechanics. By cross-field mechanics, I'm sure most of you know, but just a refresher. Anytime you're being driven off the play on the line of scrimmage, you're having to go back into the backfield because the action is right there. The progress is being pushed back at you. And rather than retreating to the bench, obviously, you're retreating back into the backfield. Rather than getting smashed and hit and standing there, you were backing up, but you're giving a wind signal telling everybody that he's inbounds, progress is stopped. You may not be sure where, you know the approximate spot. Well, all you have to do is casually get the ball and you'll come up because the offside official sees where that progress is stopped. He's got the wide angle. He knows where the pass was caught, where the runner's progress ended, and where they get pushed back. So as you, being the one who got driven off the line, come up to the line of scrimmage, you casually look across the field, find your partner. If you're the line of scrimmage guy here on the bottom, when you see your partner up on the top there getting pushed back, and you have the spot, you may have to come all the way into the hash mark or even the middle of the field to show your presence. But make sure that you show them and they get your spot. We don't want an incorrect spot or an injustice when we have a cross-field partner that clearly knows the spot's wrong. That's not fishing in other people's pond. That's not stepping on their toes. Simply cross-field mechanics. Okay, you see he gets to about the 41. Line of scrimmage, guy's been driven back to about the 36. Okay, so he knows he's around there somewhere. If you have the spot, always take it if you know you have it. But that's what cross-field mechanics are for. If you're not 100% sure and you're coming up trailing like this and winding, take your time, come up, get the ball, and look across the field. When you're on the far side and you see your partner back off the line like that, winding and coming up, that's your clue to get in there and show your presence. Go all the way to the middle if necessary. Good job. Picks it up there and they toss it in. They're going to get the spot exactly right. Perfect example. This will conclude this week's video. I apologize again. I'm going to have another one here in the next couple days. I had computer issues, signal issues, and was out of town as well. But I will have one from last week's games from Saturday, June 9th, in the next couple of days or so.